He's the type of player who cannot recover from this. I have never seen Rogue recover from a game like this before. He just doesn't. And HyuN wants this so much. He's not on a Korean team. He's not on a Keston team. He's staying at the Axiom house. He needs this. He needs relevancy. He doesn't have Pro League to fall back on. You know, he needs to show something to his sponsors, so they send him to more foreign tournaments.
Yeah.
He needs this so bad right now.
Terraform is the next map as well. Another 2-player map, a little bit longer this time around. I'd be surprised if we do see early pulls, but could be surprised.
Keep in mind also, Jin Air Green Wings having their worst round of Pro League ever right now. And for Rogue, this is going to be something that is in the back of his mind, knowing his team's doing poorly, he wants to represent them here and advance. Maru, you know, had trouble in his group as well. Some of these Jin Air stars are having trouble right now, Moonglade. All right, let's go into this game. Let's see if HyuN can close it out. Or is Rogue going to stay composed and bring us to a 1-1 score? The map is Terraform.
Push it.
The top in red, up a game in this series. It's HyuN. Look how much he wants this.
Rogue, on the other hand, one game away from being eliminated. Down in the bottom right is the blue Zerg player. Pressure is on for him, and he never does well under pressure like this.
Yeah, never. I mean, we've seen so many times that he falls in a game like this, and then he can't pick up the pieces. Like, he just looks weaker. The longer the series goes, the more games he loses in a row, the more frustrated he gets. You know, we have seen some players like this in the past. You could play like Genius, or you know, he has had some trouble like this doing a lot of all-ins. You know, Cal and I used to joke he was addicted to all-ins, but he'd like do something like this, lose the first game, then do a Siller all-in in game 2. Oh, he's got so many fangirls.
Oh my goodness. TY.
So famous.
Ridiculously handsome. There's the proof.
You look at a player like, you know, DRG has got similar issues. You look at Creator sometimes has these sorts of problems. And there's other players like Classic or Life who sometimes look like they're somehow to keep it together. The Classic today especially did. I mean, I wouldn't say he normally does, but today he really did in that first series. You look at a player like Life, like he goes down to 0-2, 0-3 in a best of 7. He could just bounce back and win the whole series.
It's still 10 pool. He like Life is not afraid. He's so experienced that he can come back again and again like that. It really comes down to a lot of experience. Something that Rogue does not have, I guess, in individual leagues very often. He does he does very well in team leagues, but we never see him go overseas and do well. We never see him go overseas in general. Maybe he needs to start doing that just so he can get that experience and confidence in these kind of tournaments.
Yeah. Well, similar openings for these two. And, you know.
Exactly the same.
Draw a line of symmetry, man. There's a mirror that we're showing up there at the top left. They call it a mirror matchup for a reason.
That's right.
Look at that. 2 lings to 2 lings.
This is a mirror. Except the queen is actually a bit slower for Rogue this time around.
Just got a dirty mirror.
Yeah, smudged.
It's only got a little smudge on it. You know, just looking at the early game here, obviously we talk about Rogue being a bit emotional, you know, I guess just being down and losing some momentum in a series like this. But you know, in the early game, he's not going to make any mistakes. We're going to have to wait to see what he does in the mid game. Wouldn't be surprised to see Rogue do like a big ling attack or something like that. He's been known to do that.
Yeah, it really depends how much he can hide. I mean, both players with those full firsts are going to slow down everything in terms of aggression. They don't get the gas done as quickly as possible. Still, there is that possibility, but after first game, HyuN should be pretty confident to take it to the mid game again. He was very intelligent the way he approached it last time.
Ling Scout denied. Barely there. Close call.
I guess he saw the drones. Maybe that helps out a little bit. Probably really searching for the timing on the Zergling speed, or maybe if he's pulling Zerglings behind this. A lot of things that can happen that can catch you out.
Oh, we see both games. Rogue makes his Baneling nest exposed, and HyuN hides it. I actually think hiding it is just so much better. a bit surprised we see him show at the natural.
It's kind of like a SimCity thing, though, as well. It
True.
helps protect your queen at the natural. If you wedge it between the baneling nest and the hatchery, it's so much harder for Lings to try and kill it, which is a little advantage it gives.
That's a good point.
It's not the be-all end-all, though. I do like the idea of hiding tech a lot more. I think, like, more information you deny, the better in this game in general. Like, it really is such a important tool.
There can also be some mind games to something like this, in this matchup in particular. Say, like, for example, you show the baneling nest a natural. It's like, is he trying to make me think he's just going to use it defensively, or is he actually going to attack with it?
Then you just think too much. then you kill yourself because you're so caught up in the mind games that it's like, well, how do I think about this? I can take it every single way. You're going to kind of think about the player and what they're capable of, what they usually think, what they do normally.
It's a general rule of thumb in ZVZ, though. If you see a baneling nest, you need to make sure you have yours, and then that's basically where you guys kind of settle it out at the in the early game.
Yeah, you really just have to be on top of it. Look at this. Once again, I saw the evolution chamber just as that last Zergling died, so that might give away just a little bit of what HyuN has planned. And we are seeing the similar builds as the last game. Spire is going to be going down for Rogue once again, and that faster third base for HyuN.
Yeah, really basically kind of like looking back in time almost at this game. The big wave of Lings coming out here for Rogue again as well. If he can hit that third base, that would be great for him. HyuN has a few banelings on the map. He's actually going to have these queens out of position too, which is kind of scary. He's got 2 banes here. I think that might be all he has.
The name of the game when it comes to Spire is to deny that third base for as long as possible. And, well, because they're similar builds at this point, it's going to come down to a lot of Ling Bane micro. And with these 2 queens, it's going to be in favor of HyuN a lot of the time here. So it's going to be a hard press for Rogue to really find any damage before those mutas come out. And when those mutas come out, it's going to be that same situation as last game, that he's going to be running into a lot of spores.
Yeah, HyuN's already starting to build the roach count. He's got +1 on the way. Decent baneling hit there. Pushes the rest of the Lings away. Does scout the Spire timing here and is actually going to the main base. Get a little bit more scout on like the drone count, how many Lings are being made, etc.
You really see like the experience from HyuN in this kind of matchup. He knows how to get the scouts off that you need, that almost win you the game in terms of figuring out the tech and being like, okay, this is what I need and when I need it. And look at that, droning up hardcore on that third base already. He can have all the time in the world. Hold on. Oh, not much. 4 drones.
Not as bad as last game.
No, 10 drones last game was pretty bad.
He did massively drone up. With that loss, he is down 4 workers here. But he's got 3 base saturation, so a better economy on the, just the same. And he already has those gases up at his third base as well.
All these spores going to be coming up now. And enough roaches to defend any sort of Lings that might try and run by or deal with the spore crawlers themselves. But look at this queen out of position here. He can go for a transfuse if he's in range. There we go.
Ooh, that baneling hit was pretty good. But again, HyuN holds on, and he's got 5 spores about to finish. And he's already building his roach count. He's got 8 roaches out. Run by here, going to get into the main base, scout the infestation pit, scout the roach warren. Man, HyuN is playing so well right now.
He is on point. He's buying so much time for everything else on the map. He sees these mutas. He's like, okay, mutas are out. This is how many he's made. I'm going to go into my infestation pit. I'm going to keep droning up until I've completely saturated on 3 base. I have enough roaches and spores to defend everything as well.
Even making a 6th spore right now. Now, I'm going to ask you, do you think this is again going to be attempt to get Broodlords just a little bit faster this time without the extra mutas because he's going to that infestation?
I think this time he's going for the traditional sort of composition. He's going for that +1 range.
True, yeah.
Behind this, it looks like it's going to be straight to Infestors and just Roach Hydra Infestor. So he's going to play much of the same sort of style that we are going to see from HyuN as well.
Okay, yeah, +1. Pretty big tell. Good catch there. And it's going to be basically, he has his Infestors slightly later than HyuN's. HyuN's starting 4 right away, but they're not going to have the energy upgrade, I don't believe, right? So it's going to be just essentially faster Infestors with less upgrades, but they're going to be similar because they're going to get their energy faster because they're first. He's getting his Hydralist at about the same time. Another Ling run by here, and there's the Banelings like ran away from the Lings. Okay, there we go.
There we go. He's getting a big hit there. And he's not going to fight too much. Really nice positioning with that queen. Going to buy a lot of time.
Can he get a transfuse?
Could it be once?
There he goes.
Might want to use the drones here. There we go.
Yeah, he's going to get a really good fight here. Roach is even coming back. And there's no follow-up attack. Like, he's not attacking the third base at the same time or anything like that. So this ends up working like a decently well-defended push there by HyuN. And again, gets his Hydras out first. He's got his +2 first. He's actually contaminating the +2 of his opponent, so he's just continuing to get this lead in the upgrades.
Certainly so. And I like these meter harassment. You know, if you can deny the gas, even for a short amount of time, you get so far ahead. Gotta be careful here. I do like this really quick fourth base from Rogue. It's going to give him a little bit of an advantage if it gets up and running in time. But I'm kind of worried that we might see that same timing from HyuN this time around as well.
I think we are. The question is, which angle does he hit from? If he hits a natural, I think it's pretty strong. If he tries to hit the third base, it could also work, but I feel like hitting the natural, he can kind of try to wedge himself and catch those reinforcements.
The corridors on this map make things so hard to engage into, especially fungals.
Yeah.
Look at the chokes here. Even at this point, like if you get a big fungal on this army and a concave, it's going to be so hard to attack into. Okay, there is a huge supply lead for HyuN right now, but it doesn't matter if everything's fungled down and Hydras get their damage in.
Okay, here we go. Infestors here at the back. Fungals going down on that army. Not the best Fungals, but here comes some more. And he's just got so many Hydras that are uncontested at the back. They do get Fungaled here, but they're still doing their damage. There's a ton of invested Terran Zone that might actually finish them off. So many of them are in the red here.
Oh, it's such a close fight, but I think we're going to see Rogue hold here. Big attack from HyuN, but not the best position, and that's the name of the game and in this matchup in general. If you don't have the concave or positioning.
Or Hydra range. He didn't have Hydra range during that entire fight. That's what our observer just showed. It's a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's also a pretty big thing.
I think that might have been almost all of it, because I was looking at that and I was like, well, he just crushes this right because he's at the back with those Hydras, but they weren't far enough away, so they took a lot of damage and couldn't even outrange those infested Terrans. Supply-wise, the fight ended up being fairly even, but Rogue with the defender's advantage now takes a 16 supply lead, has that fourth base that HyuN doesn't have, and I'd say he's got a bit of an edge in this one. Catching up on those upgrades in just a second. He's getting his own Hydra speed.
Yeah, this fourth base in the top right is actually going to give him a pretty big lead, and we do see Roaches down the bottom. If he can cancel this fourth base, he's going to get even further ahead.
Oh my god, he may well be able to do this. +2 is about to finish. Going to make these Roaches have a lot more power. It's only at half health right now.
Yeah, it's going down.
It's going down. He's not even reacting. He's slow to react. Gonna lose that.
Probably scared at the same time. It's like, well, is there another army coming this way? Like, I got to be so careful if there's like a counter attack from Rogue and my army's still crippled. He takes the gold base behind this though. He's like, you know what? I guess I'll just take the gold instead. If that gets up and running, he will have that economic advantage, but he's a long way away from that happening. And Rogue's going to be looking to hit way before then.
He's actually going to sneak a group of Roaches around to the main base as well. This is so frustrating. You can kill this queen, kill some drones, or give him just this kind of annoying tempo advantage because it forces HyuN to be on the defensive. He's now hitting the third base as well with a group of units. This will get cleaned up. The third base is defended as well, but it's the fourth so late.
So late. And, you know, killing queens at this time of the game or throughout the rest of the game with Roach run-bys is so powerful. It's such an effective thing. It's really, like, I think underthought or underused as well.
Sure.
Like, you deny that production, and it's all about the remax in this matchup. It's such an important tool to have available.
Look at the worker counts. 20 workers up right now is Rogue, but that also means his army supply is 20 supply smaller. This could give HyuN an opportunity to hit this base. There's so many spine crawlers here. It'd be so tough to actually make this work.
And we are seeing a spine forward simply because Rogue wants to go to Hive. He wants to get to the Broodlords specifically and 3-3. If he gets those up and running, he's going to have an unbeatable army, especially if HyuN is stuck on tier 2 still.
Yeah. This base for HyuN isn't mining. It's scouted by Rogue as well. He needs, you know, he needs a good engagement. He has a big bank. Could absolutely remax with a solid Roach army, but he needs to take a good engagement. He cannot trade evenly. He needs a really solid engagement, and do not want to get that close to the high ground where there's all those infestors up there. Rogue hits this base. He saw it was mining. He's actually not retargeting. Does burrow, which is kind of cool.
Same time, we actually saw a bit of aggression down below on the gold base. Didn't really get a look at it. But there are burrowed Roaches here, looking to do damage on that hatchery. Up here. Both sides kind of poking in here, but the nature of this map, the layout of this map, makes it so hard to commit to any sort of fight.
Gonna force these Roaches away with that Overseer finally.
And here we go again.
Look at this, the +3 attack on the way, the Greater Spire. Those things that if he gets, it's going to be so difficult for HyuN to actually continue into the late game.
Yeah, it's nearly a checkmate sort of army. Like, if you get the Broodlords up and running, fighting that with Roach, Hydra, and Fester is just nearly not an option in a lot of cases.
All right. Both players can lose this game over just simply getting a terrible engagement, though.
Oh, wow. This is actually adding up as well. HyuN just really out of position here. These run-bys should not be happening this way.
Burrow is really giving part of this strength as well because he's able to attack and hide. Look at this. Finds another spot in the third base. He's like, well,
so many drains.
He's almost just decided, you know, this is almost like a stalemate army-wise. Neither army wants to fight for the other one, so I might as well send some small groups of roaches around to do damage.
He's screwing up supply right now. He's making more and more Broodlords or Hydras behind this. He has all the time in the world because he's doing this kind of economic damage.
We'll catch some of these units, but it's insignificant compared to what Rogue has down the pipe, which is 5 broods.
Yeah, he's looking for a counterattack right now. His army split up, though, because of the map.
And the Spine Force you were talking about also earlier is going to make this engagement so tough to do. You can't fungal those.
Oh, big fungal from HyuN, though. Yeah. If he gets with the infestors, that'd be huge.
And now here comes the rest of the roaches, and if he can get underneath those Broodlords with the Hydras, he could maybe win this fight.
There's way too many infestors with full energy right now, though. I think all these Hydras are simply going to be fungled.
Yeah, he's just locking them down. HyuN dropping in supply here massively as he tries to push his way through here, but just keeps getting fungled. He cannot get underneath the Broodlords. The Broodlings are doing too much damage. He's trying to remax, but look at the army here for Rogue. It's just too good. He's up 30 army supply. Now his roaches with Burrow movement now are continuing to do damage.
This is a big problem here. We do see a Spire half done for HyuN, so he would look to transition into Corruptors to try and counter this, but Rogue is not going to give him any chance of that. He is maxed out. He has the army advantage in a big way. And still a lot of infestors with energy as well. +3 about the finishes to boot. Like every advantage in Rogue's favor right now.
Yep. He's going to kill this base easily here. HyuN is out of position with his army. He is trying to take, you know, if you look at the supplies, you can see that HyuN is down somewhat in supply. But his army is evenly sized, and Broodlords are slow, so he's trying to counterattack. His economy is weaker, but if he can do a ton of economic damage, maybe he can turn the tides. It's just so difficult with all these static defenses, buying so much time for Rogue to get back into position.
Well, like, one of the big things as well, is if you just see that big funnel clean up, a lot of it is like, if you have the Broodlord composition, the one thing you have to be worried about are these counterattacks. It's like the one option that the other Zerg will have if they don't have the same kind of army.
And that's why we're seeing like 8 and 9 spine crawlers at these bases, at these choke points, because it's just simply enough to buy time. There's no overseer with this army, so the drones can just burrow and hide. He keeps those alive.
He gets a hatchery, that's something, but he lost a lot of roaches for it. He's very far down in supply.
Look at the banks as well. I mean, rather the lack of bank for HyuN and Rogue's massive bank.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the gas either, which is such a problem right now. And it's just because he got his 4th base so late. He got denied, and he never got those 8 gases up and running for very long.
All right. HyuN trying to buy time here, but buy time for what? I mean, he's drawing this army back, but it's not like he has an economy behind this where he can remax with.
Looks like he wants to try and get those Corruptors out so he can have some anti-air, but he's not going to have enough units to really back them up. He's not going to have enough fungals to keep everything in place. And Rogue does have fungals for these Corruptors as well, so his Hydras can clean them up pretty quickly.
We're looking at basically 1.5 mining base Zerg to a Zerg that's mining from 3. Like, Rogue is mining from all these bases. He has all this bank, way more than HyuN does. And even if he loses some of these units, it's okay, because he's just going to remake better ones. He's making 10 spine crawlers right now with all that bank to just continue to shut these down. He basically just needs to not die, and then eventually Rogue can counterattack and win, because HyuN is going to have no units. He keeps throwing them at Rogue. He keeps trying to find an opening, keeps trying to find massive damage, but the damage gets weaker and weaker every time.
It's kind of just a slow, painful death, it seems, for HyuN. And maybe it's his kind of strategy, make it a frustrating win for Rogue instead of an easy one. He's like, you know what, I'm going to really draw this game out. I'm going to play on your weak mentality that we've seen in the past and take it to a game 3.
Okay, here we go. He's got good fungal positioning here, and look at that. Locks down the entire army with fungals. Broodlords at the back, totally safe. Even from the Corruptors, there's just way too much on the ground here. And HyuN is going to get annihilated. GG, we're going to game 3. Rogue keeps his composure. He's bringing us back all the way.
He played a very intelligent style on that map. He knew how to play the map much more than HyuN did. So Rogue back in it, looking focused. And HyuN now as well on the ropes. 1 game away from being knocked out.
Oh, man. 11K viewers watching right now. Get people in here. This is going to be so sick. I want everybody